Howdy folks, welcome back to Boonedockery. Today I came out to do a little bit of work in the woods on my semi-permanent camp and decided I'd fix myself a little supper. I needed to build a new tripod anyway, so I built a tripod. I built made a couple pot hooks, braided some jute twine to be able to make my suspension cable for my pot hooks, and now I'm going to make me some chili. First order of business is to dice me up some onions. And I don't know about you guys, but I have found that dicing onions outside doesn't produce near the amount of tears that dicing them up inside does. I'm going to dice up a decent medium onion. That'll be more than sufficient from a chili recipe. And I like to hold on to this end stuff just to give me a little bit of grip while I'm slicing those onions up. Onions are all diced up. Next order of business, get that kettle on the fire, get it heated up so I can brown these onions and the ground beef. One of the many reasons I love using an upside down fire technique is at any point during the time this was burning down, I could have put this kettle on. I could have started cooking on it pretty much as soon as the small tinder and kindling burned down and started igniting the actual fuel. I could have started cooking then. There's very little smoke compared to a lot of other fires, and it's producing a pretty constant, steady amount of heat. Usually you have to wait for your fire to burn down to where the wood is nothing but good cooking coals, and then it's a constant maintenance deal trying to keep that temperature up. With an upside down fire, pretty much as soon as that primary fuel is lit, you can go ahead and start cooking. Time for me to add my onions and my ground beef. Good and hot. I have a 80-20 ground beef, purchased at our local market. They have a fine meat shop there. And I like to brown my beef with the onions. I think it produces a better flavor. And it also helps keep the meat separated. Once I get this broken up, normally when you're browning your beef, you will run into the situation where you have to break it up in little clumps. Once you get this good and stirred up, the onions are very well incorporated with the beef, and you're adding moisture to it, so it breaks up into very fine pieces of beef in your chili. Some people like their chili chunky, some people not so much. I think it cooks more evenly this way and imparts more flavor to the chili. Oh, I wish you were here to smell this. Got a few canned goods we're going to be adding to it. I got some Bush's black beans that have been pre-seasoned. Has some tomato paste and some green chilies. All of these need to be opened up, so I'm going to use the old trusty, this was the P38, but this one is, I forget what it is, but it's the larger version of the P38. I think it's the P52. But a lot of people complain about not being able to use these, and yeah, it can be a little bit of a hassle, but a little bit of practice, you can get these things opened up lickety split. I'm going to add the green chilies in next. Let them cook with the beef and the onions for a few. Let that flavor deeply saturate into the beef before I start adding any of the seasonings or the beans or my tomato sauce and paste. Now, I'm going to blend in my seasonings real quick and move that around in here before I take it off the fire to add in my other ingredients. I found if you put your liquid in first, a lot of times it doesn't have a chance to really get in and season that meat. It'll leach out of the meat and season the rest of the broth. But I think it seasons the meat and you taste it longer and better. If you go ahead and blend it in when it's hot, pull it off the side, let it rest for a minute. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of my ingredients. These have set and rested for about 10-15 minutes. Oh wow, this looks absolutely fantastic. Right now I could eat this exactly the way it is, but we want to make it go a little bit further, so we're going to go ahead and add our beans. Go ahead and blend and incorporate those. We'll put in some tomato paste. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a regular can opener that creates a really smooth opening, you can actually open the top, then open the bottom, and push all the paste out like it's in a syringe. And it works wonderful. But if not, you got to do the old-fashioned scraping technique, because you do want to get every bit of this. And now the liquid, the wet that I'm going to add with this, is either V8 vegetable juice, or you can go to a generic variation of it, which is, this is our generic that we have at our store. It's just called vegetable juice. It works exactly the same as V8. I brought a couple little cans of V8 just in case I didn't have enough of my leftover vegetable juice. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that, see what it looks like. Yep, I think 1 can of V8 juice is going to be just the right amount. And I'll keep my eye on it as it steeps, and we'll incorporate more if need be. Now I'm going to lift up the pot hook on the tripod and put this back on the fire and let it simmer for about a half an hour. By then, it should be absolutely delicious. Well, here it is, folks. Absolute deliciousness. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh, here goes. Mm. Mm. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely fantastic. Fall has arrived, folks. Fall has arrived. This morning it was 37 degrees, and I would say right here, right now, it's probably about 63, 64 degrees. And this is just the proper type of nutrition and edible satisfaction that I long for in the fall. There's something other good. Well, folks, as I continue my delectable cuisine, there are a couple things I wanted to share with you. One of which, the wooden spoons and stuff that I use, this ladle, absolutely phenomenal works of art. These are made by a friend of mine named David Sperry. On Instagram, his name is all lowercase DS_Sloyd. S-L-O-Y-D. DS Sloyd. David Sperry. He does Sloyd, which is green wood carving, and all kinds of spoons, ladles, you name it. If it can be utilitarian, beautiful, and made of wood, he can make it. We've been, my wife and I have been using his spoons and ladles and things like that pretty much exclusively for our wooden utensils to use with our cast iron and stuff like that for years. And if you happen to check him out, tell him Boonedockery sent you, and look and see what he's got online. He's always making new stuff. He does made to order things, stuff like that too. But he's just a phenomenal human being and an absolute artist when it comes to green wood carving. The other thing I wanted to tell you about was my kettle. It's not a whole lot of them are like that, and it's called an onion bulb kettle, and it is, I purchased that, golly, probably 25 years ago from James Townsend and Son, and so I haven't been on their website for quite a while. I don't know if they still sell that particular model or not, but it's an absolutely fantastic cast iron pot, and I have cooked probably hundreds of meals in that thing throughout the years. It retains heat really well. It's very well made. It's heavy duty, and the shape of it, I think, really helps distribute the heat more evenly, things like that. If you're using it pretty much as the same way as you would like to do a roast in, slow cook a roast, you can set it beside the fire, over the fire, you name it. The only thing is that the lid doesn't have a recessed area in it for coals, but if you can manipulate your fire around it to where you don't necessarily need it, then it's moot. It's a 18th century design, and I absolutely love it. But go ahead and check out James Townsend and Sons website. Check out their YouTube channel. They do cooking videos all the time, all kinds of 18th and 19th century history. It's an absolutely amazing YouTube channel. Just wanted to throw those items out there to you, just in case you had questions on them. Folks, I am obscenely full right now. I've had 3 bowls of chili. Oh, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Oh, my stomach. Oh, it's in rough shape right now, but wow. Tomorrow's not going to be pleasant. There were a lot of green chilies in that. Well, not to mention the cayenne. But that's beside the point. Before I pack things up and get out of here, I want to just go ahead and ask everyone that if by any chance you like today's video, go ahead and give it a like. If you like what things are going on the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're subscribing, it's just flat out silly not to hit that notifications bell so you can keep up to date on all the insanely awesome videos I got made all the time. Calming down, calming down. And my favorite thing that I want my subscribers to do is to comment on the videos. It's an absolute fantastic wealth of information which is shared in those comments, and it is absolutely the icing upon the cake, which are my videos. Also, don't forget to share those videos. If anything I'm doing happens to be something you think one of your friends might like, share it with them. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter, wherever it is you can possibly share it. Share it. Let's get the word out so more folks will have an opportunity to see my videos, and hopefully they'll like them as much as you do. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.